Welcome to Deathtalker.com. My name's Molly Carlile. I'm the Deathtalker. Today I wanted to have a chat with you about how it is you feel about death. Now you may say this has no applicability to me. Well, really, eventually we're all going to die. But the interesting thing is we don't often think about our mortality. If we do think about it, we tend to think about it in terms of, oh yeah, I'll die when I'm old, particularly when we're young. That's why teenagers don't tend to shy away from risk-taking behaviours, because they tend to think they're immortal. And as we get older, part of our grieving about getting older is not necessarily about the changes in our bodies and the wrinkles and all of that stuff that comes with ageing, but it's about the fact that we're moving closer and closer to our inevitable death. And we don't like that idea, and we don't want to think about it. And really, as you can see by just watching the ads on the television, a lot of our focus is on trying to maintain youth and beauty in order to put off the inevitability of death. But you know what? It doesn't matter how many face creams you use, or how much liposuction you have, or how much exercise you do. Eventually you're going to die, and we all need to have thought about what that means for us. If we start thinking about our own death and what that might look like, it can provide us with some interesting insights into the things that we value. So if you were to think about how you would prefer to die, would it be that you'd rather die suddenly, have a heart attack, or be in a traffic accident, so that one minute you're alive and the next minute you're dead, and you have no lead-in to the fact that your death is going to occur right then? Or would you prefer to die with some sort of warning? So would you prefer to contract an illness or a disease that you are going to know will lead to your death sooner rather than later, so that you have some time to prepare for the fact that you're going to die, to maybe do things that you haven't had an opportunity to do? Because we all put off things for another day, and it's amazing how when someone has a terminal diagnosis, those are the things that are important to them to achieve before they die. Or would you rather just go to sleep one night and not wake up? You know, for all of us, our preferred death will be different. It will look different. There will be different people there. How we experience it will be different. But the important thing is that we think about that, because that then tells us about what the important things are for us. For me, I've thought about it. I certainly want to have some warning that my death's coming. And to be honest, I'd like to be in my own bed, in my own house, surrounded by the people I love, with my symptoms well managed, relatively able to think clearly, to be able to have one last glass of beautiful French champagne in the company of the people that I care about, with no rainforest music and no $2 shop aromatherapy oils. But that sense of family and community, good music, a bit of Frank Sinatra maybe, you know, for me, that is what the picture I've painted looks like. Your picture will be very different, but if you don't think about it, you won't know what that is. So that then leads us on to thinking about what is a good death. So for me, that picture tells me what a good death would be. It would be a death with my pain managed, being able to think clearly enough to have meaningful conversations with the people I care about, being relatively able to look after myself in terms of going to the loo or whatever, being able to sleep comfortably, being in a place that's familiar to me, surrounded by familiar things, and just gradually dying with my symptoms well managed. That's a good death to me. But for someone else, a good death might be a death that is sudden. Most of us would say a good death is a death that's pain-free. And so if we have particular ideas around what a good death is for us, then we are better able, when the time comes, to make sure that our needs are met in terms of those things. For some people, it's really important that they retain their independence. For others, they may not care that they can't shower themselves, but they want to be able to think clearly. And we need to understand that in order to try and make that happen. So if you had a choice, what is it that you would want done? And have you had those conversations with your family? Because this is where it gets into really murky territory. We often think about these things, but we don't talk about it with the people around us. And so if we do happen to have a stroke and the ambulance comes and they race us to hospital and we haven't told anyone what it is that we want to happen, we put a burden on our families to make those decisions on our behalf with limited knowledge. And this is what leads us into thinking about advance care planning, or advance directives, or living wills, some sort of way of clearly articulating what it is that you would want if certain things happened. So if you had a stroke or a heart attack or an accident, do you want to be resuscitated? And in what circumstances would you want that to occur? And what would that resuscitation look like? Do you want CPR, or do you want the whole box and dice, intensive care and tubes and machines? Having those thoughts and thinking about that yourself is one thing, but the important part of it is to talk about it with your family and to write it down so that if that happens, the people around you know what your choices would be if you don't have the ability to make those choices for yourself at the time. So start having these conversations with your family. Document the things that are important to you so that everyone is better prepared. I mean, a lot of people are pre-purchasing their funeral plans, but they haven't actually thought about the dying part. So that's my challenge to you. Have a think about it, have a talk about it, and make some plans so that you can invest better in your living.